Hi all, I'm Libby, proud captain of Millwall LIonesses. Thank you to our Millwall fan show from the No One Likes Us Talking team for sponsoring me this year. Make sure you give them a listen like I do. Or even better, why not sponsor a Lioness while you're at it like they do? Thank you always for your continued support.
This podcast is a proud member of the Fan Hub 100. Football without fans is nothing, so we've partnered with Fan Hub to put fans first. Search Fan Hub app to play your part in the journey.
Hi, I'm Bethany Warren, and you are joining me to listen to the podcast of our Millwall fan show with the No One Likes Us Talking team, which is available every Friday at 8 p.m.
Welcome to our final show this season, and it is the 23rd show of COVID-19 in lockdown 3.0, which hopefully does seem to be reducing here in England. I'm your host, Johnny Burrow, and I have the No One Likes Us Talking team of Debbie Julians, Stan Godwin and Jeff Burnige.
Not everybody likes them, but they don't care.
Firstly, we have a few announcements. The Lions Food Hub, based in Rennie and Manor Estate Tenants and Residents Association Hall in Bermondsey, are looking for food and financial support. To help them, you can find Lions Food Hub on Twitter and Facebook, or enter Lions Food Hub Banquet, that's BANKUET, in your browser and make a one-off or indeed a regular donation. We talk of the Proper Blokes Club every week on the show and say that founder Scott Johnson is working to remove the stigma surrounding men's mental health with walk and talk groups. Well, here is Jeremy BM telling us what joining the group is like.
It doesn't matter if you live in the area or not, come along. If you want a safe place to just chat about anything, nothing, it doesn't really matter to us, whatever. If you want to unload to someone about a pit that you're in, we'll listen without any judgment, whatever your background, whatever your situation, however you got there, don't matter. If you've been through it all, you've come out the other side and you want to support some others, come along, because why wouldn't you? Or if you just want to get out of the house, you just want to walk and you want to talk, that's what it says on the tin. Come along, guys, you know you want to, stay safe.
Thanks, Jeremy. So, guys, go and have a walk and talk either on Thursday at 6 p.m. and or Sunday at 6:30 p.m. It will make a difference. New sessions have started in Wallington near Croydon since the 25th of May, and another is to be announced in Greenwich soon. Check out their Facebook and Twitter sites for details. And congratulations to firefighter and Millwall fan Mark Petters, who was nominated as Millwall's Above and Beyond supporter for May 2021. Eamon caught up with Mark in the week.
Well done, Mark. What a fantastic effort you've made, raising over £37,000 so far for the Princess Alexandra Hospital and Young Minds. So, why have you gone down this route and how have you done it?
Basically, it was I'd see an idea from a guy, a friend of a friend on Twitter, that he'd done this challenge in January, and I thought, you know what, I really want to do something. I'd done the marathon last year, which was virtual. I'd done that in October, which I raised just over $6,000 for the Princess Alexandra, the NIC unit. And I wanted to do something again, and I really wanted to do a couple of events, but because of the COVID year, there was no options to do anything, because anything that was going on in that year was being put back to this year, so I couldn't get anything. So I thought, I really want to do something. Everyone was a bit down with everything going on in the world and going out seeing people and everything. So I wanted to do something positive, and I just got this idea in my head, and we was having a Zoom call on a Saturday night, which is the end of January, where I was having a Zoom call with some friends and having like a quiz and doing what people were doing in them times. And I just said, you know what, I'm going to do it. And on the 1st of Feb, I only told my wife that I was what I had planning to do. I didn't really tell anyone else. And she was like, you're crazy. And then on the 1st of Feb, I went out on a run. And instead of doing the 1 mile, I went out and I think I'd done 4. But I just done that 4 mile run, took the dog out and done 4. Because I still weren't sure that I could do it. And then on the 2nd and 3rd, I'd done the 2 miles. I was on shift at the fire brigade. I went over to a field at the back, Sidcup Rugby Club in the back of the station, and done the 2 miles and the 3 miles. With my mate come with me on my shift and done that. And I thought, you know what, I'll give it a go. And I've done it, got through the first week, which was, I do them sort of runs anyway, the sort of 4, 5, 6 miles anyway. So And then, yeah, got through the first week, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to give this a good go. Started plugging it on Instagram, and I thought, right, I've told everyone now, I can't not do it. So it went from there, and because I'd already asked people for money for the marathon in October, I was conscious about asking people again because things are tight. Everything, as I say, with everything going on. So I just thought, you know what, I'll put £1,000 on a budget, and whatever I get, it's all going to a great cause anyway, and which is the NIC unit at the Princess Alexandra Hospital, which is it's dear to my heart because family friends, lifetime family friends of my wife, and now long-term family friends of myself. They had Laura and Neil had a baby, Ralph, and that was in the unit, and pretty much the unit. I don't think it's far to say that they pretty much saved his life and kept him alive. And it was, I wanted to do something for them. But then I'm also sort of massively into mental health. I think it's a massive thing, especially at the moment, and in young people, trying to get it early. So the Young Minds, I looked into it, and I thought, Joe, that's a great cause. Let's get it going for them as well. So I thought I'd do 50-50 split. New and Laura was supportive with that. So obviously I got them £6,000 in October, and went, right, let's try and get them some more. And then it did every day I've done a little interview, not an interview, I've done like a little speech after every day, just giving everyone an update of, oh yeah, I've done mile 7, mile 8, it was all right, done this, and just a little sort of 20-second snapshot of what I'd done that run, and it just got a bit of momentum behind it. And I was getting people I'd never heard of sponsor me, anything from probably like £10 to up to, I had someone sponsor me £1,000, a local business where they just see the story, and local business, and they sent me a lovely message and went, yeah, we just wanted us to get behind it. So another business, I had to go out and wear a particular football team shirt for £10,000, but I had to do it. But the money talks, so I won't say what team, but I done it and got a lot of money from them. And it just kept getting momentum. And obviously, it was the support I got behind the scenes that just got me through it, to be honest. And I think the last day was absolutely amazing. People come out and I've done the same route. I've done like a loop. I've done 3 loops of this run to get up to the 28 miles on the 28th, and it was fantastic. So very, very good, very worthy causes.
Aye, and brilliant that the club acknowledge one of their supporters in doing what you've done. It's brilliant, Mark.
A few people apparently was mentioning it to them. I mean, I didn't know. It was a complete surprise. I started getting all these text messages, and then my Twitter account that I don't go on loads, to be honest, was blasting at me, going this story. I was like, what's this? I rang my wife, and then she sort of told me that how many people had nominated it. Yeah, it was amazing. And obviously then the club supporting it, and then it went out again as an astonishing story, I think, or something like that. And it's fantastic.
Yeah. Well, how can people contribute to the cause, Mark?
The club have actually put my page link on that website as well, so you can click on that. I've got it going again. I'm actually organising a charity football match on the 25th of July for the unit, the Princess Alexandra Neonatal Intensive Care Unit, and also for the Tommy Crush Foundation, which is another mental health, preventing kids from suicide, basically. Yeah. So, and again, that's going to be on that page just to continue it and keep it going, hopefully, and try and get make some more money for some great causes, basically.
We'll hear from you again, I think, somehow. You're an example to all people that seek to make money for great causes. Well done.
No, thanks again. Thanks for your time.
Well done, Mark. If you can help him raise money for these 2 great causes, the Princess Alexandra Hospital and Young Minds, just put Virgin Money Mark Petters into your browser. That is MARC space PETTERS into your browser. Now, hello time. That's the announcement out of the way. Lovely to be reunited with a couple of old faces, and of course one new one for me anyway, who will be coming to in just a moment. First up, Mr. Stan Godwin. How are you getting on?
I'm doing okay, mate. I'm doing okay, and I'm just looking forward till June the 21st, when hopefully all these lockdown restrictions are gone, and we can get back to some form of normality. But no, I'm fine, mate. I'm fine, thanks.
Good. Well, we've got lots to look forward to, haven't we? As you say, because there's June 21st, there's also the Euros, and as we all know, it is, of course, coming home. And then after that, we've got a new championship season. Millwall, of course, not the perfect final day last year, it has to be said, but a very good year overall. And, of course, 3 new sides in the division to worry about: Hull City, Peterborough United and Blackpool. Stan, what do you reckon those 3 might bring to the championship?
Well, I think in terms of with Peterborough, because I mean we played them before, and you know, in fairness to them, I mean they have their way of playing, and I think it's fair to say that when you've been in a game with Peterborough, you know you've been in a game with them, and if you've won the game, and we've done that on occasions, but they're never easy. They're never easy games to win. You know, it's simply not a case of not just rocking up and thinking, oh, this is 3 points. Hull City, well, I think that will be interesting, because I mean when they went down at the end of the previous season, I think some of them players sold that manager short, because that manager is highly rated at the time, and I think they will want to try and prove themselves this time. Well, I mean Blackpool. Well, I mean it's phenomenal what they've done. I mean, considering where they was a few years ago with the owner, and they've now got into the Championship, and you know, good luck to them. I mean, for me, they're a bit of an unknown quantity, really. But I've got no doubt that when we play them at our place, and certainly when we go up there, we know we've been in a game.
Well, we certainly will, and it sounds like all 3 of them are going to bring something as far as you're concerned. Mr. Jeff Burnige, great to speak to you again. What do you reckon? Those 3 sides added into the mix. Do you agree with Stan? What can we expect?
There's some evidence that the gaps between the various divisions are getting a little bit wider. Some of the teams that have come up have not found it easy. I think we have to say, well done to Wycombe Wanderers. You know, they made a great effort, didn't they? Great effort last season. As for these 3 teams, yes, I think Hull were champions, weren't they? And I think that probably means they'll be the strongest. Peterborough, I agree with Stan. That always seems to be a hard game for us. Blackpool, teams that come up in the playoffs sometimes find it hard, and they're only just started their revival under their new owners. And I'm not sure that any of those 3 will make a big impression. I think Hull will be fine. They'll stay up safe, I think. There you are. That's my views.
And Blackpool, of course, with a new owner, a local lad in place who is supposedly fabulously wealthy, look quite well equipped financially to compete. Do you think they will struggle on the pitch still?
I think, as I say, I think a team coming up from the playoffs, you know, you're asking a lot. Obviously, recruitment's vital at this stage of the season, this stage of the year. It has a big impact, and if any of those 3 teams recruit brilliantly, then it will have a big impact on how they do. But, you know, the Championship's a very, very tough division. I'm not expecting any of them to make a big challenge, to be honest with you. But of the 3, I think Hull are the most likely to be relatively safe. Blackpool, come on, I think all Millwall fans are looking forward to going back there. It's been a while. We're going back up there for a ride on the tram, and look inside the Tower Ballroom, see if any of the Strictly Come Dancing girls are hanging around. And hopefully 3 points at the football club.
3 points, of course, the main thing there, Jeff. I think
of
the
those
primary
3, yes. Of those 3, yes.
Not necessarily in that order. And last but most certainly not least, good evening, Debbie. We've never met, but I'm delighted to be chatting to you and, of course, to welcome you to the Our Millwall Fan Show panel. I know a little bit about your history, with your father, Len, of course, being a Millwall legend at the time when they gained that record of 59 home league games without a defeat. It was your dad who scored most of the goals in that period. You must be so proud of him.
Yes, I'm extremely proud of him, and I'd like to thank also all the Millwall fans that keep his memory alive as well. So it's a great honour. So, yeah, very proud indeed.
And I hear, building on that legacy, you're now working with the Millwall Community Trust in a voluntary capacity. What's been going on there?
Well, I am in the culinary world, the food world, and wanting to carry on some of my dad's work in the community. I asked Eamon about any charity work, and Eamon introduced me to Sean Daly, the CEO of Millwall Community Trust. We had a long chat and we discussed things of where Sean wanted to go. And I know John Williams, who's the executive chef at the Ritz and who's also the chairman of the Royal Academy of Culinary Arts. Wow. So he instructed his team and we had a Zoom meeting, and they do great work. And with the combination of Sean and of the Culinary Academy is excellent. So we're starting a kick and cook within Millwall, and that is forming a partnership with the Community Trust and the Royal Academy of Culinary Arts. There's going to be a pilot programme in local schools. So this is linking healthy food with physical activity, and that being football, and children learning cooking skills and all about food and eating healthily, and sort of taking that back to their parents too. If you consider carrots are actually cheaper than crisp, and this also introduces opportunities in both football and hospitality. And we will be working on is videos of players and chefs making meals together, so good advice there, and a cookery book as well. So there's a lot of work to be done, a lot of work gone in behind it, and Sean's doing an excellent job.
Yeah, that sounds absolutely fantastic. I have to say, I'm really looking forward to hearing more about that as it continues, and I think we're going to have a few more features on the show. I certainly hope to hear where you can go with that. We'll take a break there, just a quick one, to hear what Fantastic Fanatics offer and what we can do with them to support our community trust.
Hi, I'm Richard Gordon, and I'd like to invite you to become a Fantastic Fanatic. Fantastic Fanatics is a great way to raise funds for your sports club. Sign up today, find your club, and securely register your everyday debit and credit cards. Every time you spend with our retail partners, they pay a percentage back to your club. It costs you nothing, and you can win cash prizes along the way. Visit fantasticfanatics.com and help your club be the best it can be.
I'm Johnny Burrow, and I'm back with the No One Likes Us Talking team of Debbie Julians, Stan Godwin and Jeff Burnige. I heard how one of James Kelly's friends had £50 donated to the trust by changing his broadband provider through an online purchase with Fantastic Fanatics. Well worth checking to see if you could do something similar. Really, really great initiative, great to talk about, and we've got lots more great things coming on the show, not least our first guest tonight, who is a pianist, singer and songwriter from Ipswich, Suffolk, England, and is a former member of the band Rosalita. He had great success musically, including gigging at that most famous of fish and chip restaurants, Poppy's, in Camden Town, I believe. He's also known for his football-focused YouTube channel, where he does match reviews and podcasts. In particular, he's the host of the Blue Monday, the Ipswich Town podcast. He is also well known to the listeners of our Millwall fan show, having previewed and reviewed our season with us on a number of occasions. Let's say hello to that maestro musician, vocalist, and a most knowledgeable of soccer podcasters, Benjamin Bloom. Hello, Ben.
Have you rewritten my Wikipedia? You haven't put any...
I have, yeah. No, I've edited it all in there, actually.
Naughty little silly bits in there.
No, I've just said you love Norwich City.
Anyway, evening, Ben.
Evening, everybody. Yeah,
hello,
welcome.
Ben. Evening, Ben.
Hello.
really lovely to have you with us. And before I let the team chat with you, I've got to ask, because Ed Sheeran has become the latest musician to sponsor a football club shirt, signing a deal to take over the front of the men's and women's first team kit at your beloved Ipswich Town. So that's Sheeran on the shirt, you on the podcast. Is there a chance of a Tractor Boys duet or anthem being produced by the pair of you?
Oh, wouldn't that be a fine thing, hey? I wouldn't mind just playing a triangle on an Ed Sheeran song and taking the royalties, but that would be very nice. But no, it's wonderful news that Ed has chosen to get involved. I think, and he said it himself, particularly after the ESL debacle with fans not very happy, to have a local guy made good like Ed coming on as the shirt sponsor is great publicity. Obviously, he'll be selling our Ipswich shirts on his tour. The shirt has just been released today with the plus minus divide multiply Ed Sheeran logo on it. Really cool thing. I played with Ed Sheeran in a bar in Chelmsford before he was famous. There were about 10 people there, and bless him, he watched my entire set. Poor thing. We've gone in slightly different directions since with his worldwide superstardom.
Hi Ben, this is Jeff here.
Hi Jeff.
Very, very nice to speak to you. Let's go on to the subject of football rather than your music side. You usually do account for standout players at the end of each season. Can you tell us who and why from the Millwall team featured and who were close to inclusion this time around?
It wasn't a vintage year for Millwall players in my team of the season, I have to say. And I have very hard and fast rules of only 2 players from any one club. So we did come up with a squad of 20 for my team of the season, of which there was only one Millwall player you'll be annoyed to hear, and he was the substitute goalkeeper. So I had Mr. Bialkowski as my substitute goalkeeper. Millwall have been fairly sort of reliant on Bialkowski, and then Jed Wallace would be the other guy. Unfortunately, Jed Wallace playing on the right-hand side off the front was in a championship season with Emi Buendia of Norwich, Ismail Assar of Watford, David Brooks of Bournemouth. A lot of good right-hand side forward players, and you would have thought that Jed Wallace would have been close there. But in my 20, and I know he was your player of the year once again, I did have Bialkowski, but I did have, and maybe this was done before his antics in the playoff semi-final, let's just say, I did have Asmir Begovic of Bournemouth as my goalkeeper. So maybe with the hindsight of him being none too kind to Ivan Toney after that penalty, maybe we can switch Mr. Bialkowski in. But I think you would agree, I suppose, other than Scott Malone for his highlight reel goals, but he wasn't getting ahead of a Callum Styles or a Max Aarons at fullback. So it was only Bialkowski was my substitute goalkeeper.
Well, I hear what you say, but I don't think our centre-backs, Hutchinson and Cooper, get the credit they deserve. I think both of them are outstanding, and I look forward to them featuring in your team of the season next year when we go up as champions. I'm an eternal optimist. I always am about 2 weeks after the previous season ends.
Hi Ben, it's Debbie here.
Hi Debbie.
I must say you've got a great singing voice, so I've been listening to it. So my question is, from pop star to soccer pundit, it's quite amazing. I understand you like your trips to the Den for the atmosphere, and you get recognition too. Assuming all goes to plan, will we see you this forthcoming season? And would there be any particular fixtures that would interest you?
I'd love to be back at the Den. It just seemed when I first started covering the Championship, it seemed that Millwall were on Friday nights all the time, and I was working down in London, and you sort of started to go to a couple of Millwall games, and that was at the time, that would have been the first season up under Neil Harris, where you guys finished 8th, playing really, really well. The team with Morrison and Gregory up top, and Saville in there in the central midfield. Really good team, really good time watching Millwall, and it's great when that place is rocking and when that place is loud. It's a really, really great place to watch football. So I was always keen to get back there. Then as the channel sort of grew and I moved away from London, we'd be going off to different places. But yeah, I'd love to go down to Millwall. Always sit upstairs in the kitchener. Always park on the same street near the ground. So yeah, always good fun. Always tend to get stuck in which is the tunnel when you come out, trying to get out the Rotherhithe tunnel or something. Always seem to get stuck in on the way out as well, which is the not fun bit of the journey. But yeah, would love to be down there at Millwall next season. In terms of games, and I say this not only because I'm on your podcast, but the loudest atmosphere I think I've heard was in a Millwall-Fulham game towards the end of that season I've just mentioned. So if I could be in there and the stadium was anywhere near the same volume, it was quite something. So maybe Fulham would be the team I'd want to see down at Millwall.
Yeah, certainly is a fantastic crowd, and when that roar goes, it goes. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Ben, it's Stan here, mate. How are you? All right?
I'm great, Stan. Yeah, beautiful sunny day here in Bedfordshire where I am. So yeah, can't grumble.
Been too bad days. It's coming a bit cloudy now, but nothing to worry about. Anyway, tell us, how did the man that was considered likely to perform as well as Harry Kane did when he joined Millwall on loan do for the Tractor Boys in the second half of the season? Last, I'm talking Troy Parrott, of course.
I think you know the answer to that, don't you? Not very well, bless him, and he didn't do very well at Millwall either, did he? Look, what I've said for the last few years is bless my team, but it's not been the place for a young player to come through and thrive. You know, football is often it's timing, isn't it? Be in the right place at the right time. And if you are a young player looking to come through, you want to come through in a good team, in a winning team. Didn't seem to be the right fit at Millwall, did it? So he dropped down a level down to Ipswich, and it was just such a basket case end of the season with Paul Lambert going and the takeover happening. We suspect that there may have been some kind of clause in the contract that kept meaning that he got selected towards the end of the season when we thought, oh, maybe a loan player would go back. But no, I don't think I'm seeing the new Harry Kane. I mean, good luck to Troy Parrott. Maybe another loan somewhere else. But I suspect it'll be League One rather than Championship, given what we saw at Millwall and at Ipswich last season.
I mean, it's funny because I had a bit of sympathy for him in a way, really, because the moment it was announced that he was coming to us on loan, and it wasn't nothing to do with him. All of a sudden, we started hearing comparisons being made about Harry Kane. Now, you know, and when Harry Kane came to us to start off with, he was just a mere boy, and by the time he left, he'd grown up. And
Millwall will do that to you.
Well, that's right. That's right. And you know, and everybody, you know, it just wasn't happening. And at times, I think what was happening, he kept coming back because he weren't getting the ball, and he kept coming back. And as a consequence, when the ball was knocked up there, he weren't there. So, to be fair, it wasn't always necessarily his fault, I didn't think. And
let's be honest as well, Millwall have ended the season with a couple of wingers playing up front, haven't they? With Bennett and Wallace as the front two. So it's not just Troy Parrott that couldn't.
No, that's right. Yeah.
Couldn't do it up top for Rowett this season.
No, I agree with you.
Hi, Ben. Again, it's Debbie here. What do you think we need to add to our side to be challenging for the playoff spot this forthcoming season?
Yeah, that's the conundrum, isn't it? Because, I mean, what is it? 8th place, then I think like 21st or something, then 8th again, and now 11th this season. And sort of keeping your eye on Millwall through the season, you're looking and you're thinking, where are the goals and where are the home wins? And home wins is never a problem for Millwall normally, as we've spoken, a very fearsome place to sort of go to. I think the last part of the conversation we've had, in terms of a goal scorer, I know that's easier said than done. Everybody wants a goal scorer. That's why they're worth so much money. But not even a goal scorer per se, but someone to be that focal point and maybe bringing in and making more space for a Jed Wallace perhaps, or a Bennett or a Mitchell running in behind, or Ben Thompson, whatever happened to him, playing a sort of number 10 behind. The difficulty, as ever, and it's a very, very boring conversation that we have to have repeatedly, but I'm sure you understand, is the financial side of it. And you would be the first to admit Millwall in this division don't get the most gate receipts. Nobody gets any gate receipts for the last year as well. Don't get the most commercial revenue. So the fact is they're punching to be in that top half. They're performing well. To finish there 3 times in 4 seasons is frankly excellent. But of course, you look at it, and in a couple of those seasons, it's been a matter of points to be in the top 6. What Millwall need, they need a striker who will score some goals. They need a bit of luck in terms of no injuries to key players and the squad to stay sort of fit. And with a manager, with a manager like Gary Rowett, who's quite pragmatic, they need the fine margins to go in their favour. When they're in games, they need to win the games, and they need to push on that sort of home record as well. So that would be my excuse me, struggling to speak here. That would be my sort of list of things. And of course, holding on to, you mentioned Cooper, Hutchison, the Wallace, the saleable assets, Białkowski, and being able to keep that team generating.
Yeah, great, thank you.
I mean, it's interesting, Ben, you say about the question of the financial thing. Now, you see, I understand that up to a point, okay? But what always gets me is, I mean, I look round, for example, and you see, like, the likes of Peterborough, for example, right? What is it, I mean, they sign some player, right, who nobody's ever heard of, play for some team that, half the country haven't heard of in some cases. And then 18 months, 2 years, this bloke's banging in goals left, right and centre. And all of a sudden he then gets sold, like, for example, Ivan Toney did, for about 10 million quid. And I often think to myself, what is it they're doing that we ain't doing? And that's not necessarily down to finance, is it? Some of these clubs keep finding these players. I mean,
Peterborough's, sorry to interrupt, Peterborough's a very specific example because the actual Peterborough model is to do exactly what you've just said. And what then happens is, because they've done that with Ivan Toney, Asomba Longa, Jack Marriott, Dwight Gale, what you get is, if you're a good striker outside the Championship and Peterborough are interested, you go to Peterborough because they're going to set their entire club up to make you loads of chances. You score loads of goals, you make them loads of money, which is how they run. If you look at someone like Millwall, you would think, no offence, they could do that with centre halves, couldn't they? They're sort of the Cooper and the Hutchison. That would be, given who the manager is at Millwall, that would be the type of player they would develop there. In terms of actual recruitment and making the money, the one thing that is kind of a big strength and a big weakness of Millwall is that they're quite cautious and quite clever, I think, with their, we never know how long the contracts are, do we? We never know any of the transfer fees. They run well, but I think sometimes in the Championship, going against the parachute teams and with FFP there, I think sometimes you have to make the recruitment work, and that does mean selling and then reinvesting. Whereas what Millwall have done is, Cooper's still there. Wallace is still there. Okay, it was Saville that went for big money a couple of years ago, wasn't it? But that's something I've thought about Millwall before. That obviously you probably all love having Jed Wallace in your team, but if you sell Jed Wallace and buy 3 players and bank some of the money, who's going to win in a 5-a-side, Jed Wallace or 3 players? Do you know what I mean? It's sometimes it's okay to sell, and the other thing is you've got to sell at the top of the players' value. So it's a bit of a game of poker from Mr. Berylson and your higher ups there, but there are saleable assets there if they did want to do that, of course. I
think Jeff here again, Ben. I think recruitment is a critical function in a club, a middle-sized club like Millwall, and there have been a few occasions in fairly recent times where we've recruited brilliantly and produced fantastic players and profits from doing so. We have to do that again. But I'd like to know which of the 3 promoted teams that have come up you think will do the best, and also who do you think in the current championship has probably overperformed as a team?
So the 3 teams coming up, we're talking Blackpool won the playoffs. You already mentioned Peterborough and Hull, who were only down for 1 season, weren't they? I don't see... you look for a couple of things for the bottom of the championship. You look for a basket case where there's going to be absolute chaos. The owner doesn't know what he's doing. They're going to get a fine of points, going to sack the managers. I'm talking sort of a Sheffield Wednesday type team. Hull, the last time they were up, in fact. I don't really see any of them being a basket case. And then you look for teams that are kind of too small. No offence to a Wickham, a Yeovil, a Burton. So it's a difficult one to say which of those is gonna struggle. Given what we already said about Peterborough, you can imagine them scoring lots of goals, but also getting a couple of hide-ins during the season, can't you? Blackpool look good, actually. I watched all of their playoff games. They look well organised, and that's obviously going to be a hard place to go, isn't it, in the northwest? So I think there's potential for at least 2 of those to stay up, which would obviously mean some regular names going down. In terms of, did you say underperforming or overperforming in terms of existing championship teams?
Who do you? Well, either, whichever you want. Is in your view of the championship, who surprised you by overperforming and who surprised you by underperforming?
Well, Barnsley's the obvious one for overperforming. They were fantastic, weren't they? And QPR for the second half of the season were very good as well. And then you're down to Millwall and Luton, aren't you, who are both in the top half, when you have the likes of Stoke, who've just finished 3 years of parachute payments, and Nottingham Forest and Derby County, who are both English League champions not so long ago. So, your underachievers are obviously Derby, Stoke and Forest, all in the bottom half there. And I suppose Luton, Millwall, QPR, Barnsley, given the spend to league position, all doing very well. But I think you'll all be familiar with Mr. Houghton and Mr. Warnock, Mr. McCarthy, who are all capable, curmudgeonly old managers that they are, of putting together a good season as well, aren't they?
Well, they certainly are. And Ben, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Thanks again for coming on the show, and all the best with your beloved Ipswich. We've got a potential musical collaboration with Ed Sheeran in the offing. We've got Paul Cook all over the shop, new major shareholders from across the pond, and a new CEO, Mark Ashton, dropping down a division and leaving the club whose ground was of the same as his surname. The future looks bright, but before we let you get going, we always have a prediction. You know this. And, okay, there is no championship football, but we do, of course, have a European championship coming up, that delayed finals. Who's going to win it?
You don't want me to say France,
There's only one correct answer. There's one
you don't want me to
answer.
say France, do you?
And if you say anything other than the correct answer, I'll be very upset.
It would be lovely to see. England have never been in a final in my lifetime. Couple of semi-finals lost on penalties. The semi-final last time. It's going to be very intense. We're all going to get very carried away, aren't we? I hope we don't come up against certain old foes, particularly one chiselled Portuguese striker who's punished us before when we've come up against them. And I always thought with England, if they could just get to a final, they could win it. Do you know what I mean? I think the intangibles would take them over the line, but can they get into the final? That's the issue, and I think I've successfully filibustered and swerved your question.
Who's going to win? Who's going to win?
A European footballing nation will win Euro 2020.
And what letter does the name of the country begin
It will have a vowel in it.
And how many consonants, Rachel?
More than one. And you can find me at the Benjamin Bloom football channel over on YouTube and at Benjamin Bloom on Twitter as well.
Glorious stuff. And in summary, it is coming home. Ben, a delight to talk to you as ever, and all the very best for the new season.
Thanks, boss.
Well, glorious stuff all round. We'll take a break there, and here is Bethany Warren talking about an app for the blind or partially sighted.
Hi, Bethany Warren here. Millwall LIonesses have partnered with international smartphone application Be My Eyes. Be My Eyes is an application that truly benefits the poor of sight and the blind, but is supported by those of us that can see.
You might wonder how blind people deal with everyday challenges. Well, normally the answer is simple. We're not that different from you. We play music. We go to school. We go to work. You get the picture. But sometimes the simplest things can be difficult, and we need a pair of eyes.
Connect to first available number.
That's where you come in.
Establishing video connection.
Through your smartphone, Be My Eyes connects the blind with sighted people through a live video connection. Simply choose if you need help or want to help by the click of a button.
That's a nice picture of you and your family, Caroline. Is it for a present? Yes, it's a photo from my parents.
You can help just by installing the Be My Eyes app.
Correct image.
And we'll notify you when someone needs your help. And if you're in the middle of something, don't worry. Someone else will step in. So, would you care to be my eyes?
Be My Eyes is displayed on the LIonesses shorts this season. Download the app onto your smartphone now and help those that need your eyes straight away.
I'm Johnny Burrow, and I'm back with the No One Likes Us Talking team of Debbie Julians, Stan Godwin and Jeff Burnige. That Be My Eyes we were just hearing about has 4.7 million volunteers with in excess of 300,000 blind and low vision users in more than 150 countries, and the service is provided in 180 languages. I'm always staggered whenever I hear that advert. It's just an incredible thing to be doing. If you can get involved, you can clearly accomplish a great deal with that kind of support. And we've got a fantastic guest coming up for you as well. Up next is a man who was written about last June by the Bristol Post, of all papers, in the most glowing of terms. His last game for the Gas turned out to be his 600th appearance, and they have had several standout centre-halves over the years, and Craig will be held in that bracket despite his relatively short stint at the Mem, coming well into the second half of his career. He joined the Gas from his boyhood team Millwall. Any League One or League Two club in or around London will be lucky to have him. His career began in the youth ranks at Millwall. Adapt as a central defender or a left-back, he received his maiden call into the first-team squad over 18 years ago for a First Division League match against Bradford City on the 5th of April 2003. He went on to play 322 times for the Lions, and he kept the bench warm on a further 63 occasions, having departed 3 times. He then came back 3 times as well. He received a testimonial at Millwall versus Brentford, a former side of his, on the 30th of July 2016. Having been born in Greenwich, he was brought up in Thamesmead and is a Millwall fan who has captained the Lions too. Let's welcome the Lionheart that is Tony Craig, who now plies his trade at Crawley Town. Hello, Tony.
Hello, good evening, everyone.
All right, Tony?
Hi,
very
Tony.
well, thank you. Hiya.
Yeah.
Great to have you with us. Great to have you back on the show. And of course, with another 42 appearances with Crawley Town this season, the 650th of your career is just around the corner. Quite some spell. But out of those 642 games, it's a lot to choose from. Which was the best?
Oh, I think personally, the one which will never go out of my mind is the one being the winning captain at Wembley. You know, a few years ago, like you said, being captain at Wembley for one, but at your boyhood club and walking up the steps and collecting a trophy, it don't get any better than that for me personally. And it's one which, for me, I'll never ever forget, and it's a great day.
Yeah, hello, Tony. It's Stan here, mate. Well, it looks like Bristol Rovers missed you this season as they got relegated, but you have had some cracking games with Crawley, none more than the 3-0 victory over Premiership Leeds United in the FA Cup back in January at the People's Pension Stadium. How did that feel?
No, that was a great day. You know, a great day for the club. It's always a pleasure to play against Leeds. You know, obviously, whenever they come into town and over the numerous numbers of years I played against, there's always been a great games and good occasions, and I think my record against Leeds is probably not bad over the years. You know, I think I've won a lot more than I've lost against them, and it was one of them where, like I said, it was the beauty of the FA Cup. I think in League Two at Crawley, I think we've probably got one of the lowest budgets, and to beat a Premier League side was obviously a great day for myself, but more importantly for the club as well.
Brilliant. Hi, Tony. It's Debbie here. Games against Leeds for Millwall fans and players alike have always been passionate affairs. What stands out in your mind from these games?
Like I said earlier in the show, it's a great occasion to play against them. You know, at the Den when Leeds come down, it's always a full house. Obviously, the fans were right behind our back, right behind us, and on our side, and always made it intimidating for them to come down. And at Ellen Road as well, you could just feel like the sort of the tension between the fans, and obviously it come onto the pitch. And for me personally, I think I'll always look back at the playoffs games against Leeds. You know, obviously we beat them 1-0 at the Den, and to go there and to get the draw and to get through to Wembley. And for me personally, it was the first time to play at Wembley, so it was a great occasion. And it's one of them where no one gave us a chance back then against Leeds. Everyone was just saying, yeah, Leeds will get through, and even their fans even booked a hotel for Wembley. So it's one of them good to be the underdogs and go there and do a good account of ourselves.
Fantastic.
Tony, it's Jeff here, mate. It's great to talk
I know,
to you
Jeff.
again.
How are you, mate? Yeah, very good,
really
mate. Yourself?
Well. Great. How's the family? All okay?
All good, mate. Yeah, no, they're good. They're really happy. You know, like I said, I had them 2 years away in Bristol, which the family didn't come down with me. So there's a lot of commuting there. But it's one of them where sometimes you have to sacrifice stuff to do the stuff you love. And it was one of them where my missus was brilliant with me, you know, staying at home, looking after the kids. And when I was only here for half the week, and it's one of them, you know, I've said it before, my missus is on the journey with me. You know, she's been there from more or less from the beginning. And like I said, I've only maybe got a couple of seasons left, so she'll be there to the end as well, you know. And I suppose it's the beauty of it, you know. But Jeff, no, it's good to speak to you, mate. It's been a long time, and like I said, people don't know what you've done for me back all them number of years ago. You know, you gave me that contract when you didn't need to, you know. And the good thing as well, you even gave me a pay rise, which I would never forget as well. So it's one of them, Jeff. You know, for me personally, I'll never forget what you've done for me, mate. That's why you'll always be held high regarding myself.
Oh,
I would like to go back to when you first joined the club. You and I were both on that youth team trip to France. Do you remember the...
Yeah, no, I do remember that very much.
Do you remember the luxurious accommodation I arranged for you for that trip?
Oh, well, I think I certainly don't. You must have had that on your own, Jeff, you know, because I think the players, I think we were in... I think we had one bed between 4 of us, you know. I think
that was roughly it. Yeah, that was roughly it. But,
I don't think it's far from that either.
You came into the first team at a time when we had a lot of very talented players. Who would you say was your inspiration when you were a young player coming into that team?
It's one of them. I was very fortunate, I had Neil Harris sort of took me under his wing, Nethercott and Darren Wall. Darren Wall done a hell of a lot for me. He guided me in a very, very good direction, and he was the first sort of person to come in with looking at stuff, looking at cool downs, recoveries, and taking supplements, like protein shakes and everything like that. And before that, I didn't even know what a protein shake was. So all of a sudden, I've got this powder put in front of me, take it with water after training, make your muscles recover. He was brilliant. But Neil, again, he was superb to me. He was, I sort of looked up to him as a sort of father figure, really. It sort of, at the time, I'll be honest with you, I didn't know what mortgages was, and it's one of them where he obviously had his career before football, and I'm talking to him about mortgages, and he put me in good stead and put me up to these mortgage advisors. So it's not only the football side, there's stuff making me grow up as a man as well, and seeing the other side of the game, and mortgages, banks, and everything like that. So it's one of them, and obviously Nethercott, he was the captain at the time, so obviously it's one of them where I wanted to learn a lot off of him, see how he sort of rallied the troops, how he held himself, and he was a good role model to look up to. Yeah, I remember those players, as we all do, but I'm particularly pleased to hear you give Neil so much credit, because let's face it, he was an incredibly big personality at the club for a long time, and I think personally he revived us from a low point, and his objective was to reunite the team and the crowd, and he did that, and I think he'll always be remembered for that. So thanks. He'll always be remembered for that. Like I said, he was not only a good man off the pitch, he was a good man on it as well. It's sort of like when the troops need rallying, he was someone that you could look to and take you to the next step. And he's one of them which, whenever he spoke, he's always listened. And like I said, his record speaks for itself at the club, and that's why he'll always be held so high regard and at the club, and personally for me as well.
Great, that's where people should be. So, Debbie here again, Tony. Lots of young players found that they were released at the end of this season across the leagues. Your teammate at Crawley, Jack Powell, was released by league sides, one of which was Millwall.
Yeah.
What would you say to young players from your knowledge and experience of the game? It's very important, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's one of them. I got released at 15 as well, so I've been through that sort of stage where you get knockbacks, and then unfortunately in this game you get a lot of knockbacks. But it's one of them. You take the rough with the smooth. But it's just, for me, you just never give up. Football's only a game of opinion. Some managers are going to rate you, and some are not. Some teams you'll suit their style of play, and unfortunately others again you won't. But for me, if you've got the talent will always shine through in the end. But there's a lot of people where you need a lot of thick-skinned, and you need a strong mentality, and when the knockbacks come, obviously it hurts, but you've got to move on very, very quickly. You can't dwell on them, and it's just one of them where you just got to take the opportunity when it comes. And unfortunately in this game it might not be the next team, might not be the next team after that, but if you're good enough you will come through, and someone will always take you.
Wise words, wise words.
Your old mate Alan Dunn was on this podcast a few weeks back, and his view was that Millwall does well for a club of our size, but getting an accomplished championship standard striker has often been a problem. How did you view our season from afar, and can you see us becoming contenders for promotion in 21-22?
Yeah, of course. Why not? I think we're one or two strikers away from being a very, very good side. I think that's sort of been well documented, and I think it sees that the goals we've got. But from the back, they're very, very solid. You've got a great goalkeeper. Obviously, a back four is very, very good. Like I said, they're usually the three centre halves, and that very, very solid in that. So I do believe if you get the good mixture of another three or four players come in, I don't see why not, because there's a lot of clubs who'll be struggling financially, who will be getting rid of players and everything like that. And like I said, Mill's a very, very well-run club, obviously financially secure in that. So this is a great opportunity for the club to say, well, why not? Why can't we get into the top six? So it'd be very, very interesting in the next few weeks to see what players come through the door. And I'm excited as anyone to see who comes through the door, because it can only improve the squad, and let's see where it can take us.
You're coming back, Tony, to host a Legends tour at the Den at 11 a.m. Blimey, sounds like Armistice Day, doesn't it? On the 10th of June. So, what can you tell the listeners to expect from coming down the Den and joining you?
No, it's one of them which, first and foremost, I'm very honoured to be asked to come back to have a look around the fantastic stadium. But it's one of them we can all have a look round, we can have a chat, go through some stories. Anyone wants to come and ask a question, then yeah, I'll answer it. But for me, it's just always an honour to be asked to come back, and I can't wait to. I haven't been there for a couple of years myself, so it's one of them where I can't wait to see what the change rooms are like now, and look behind the stands and look from afar and being where the fans sit, and I'm looking forward to it, and I think it's even sold out now, so again, I'm very humbled, and to have it at 11 o'clock on a Thursday for a sellout, I'm well pleased, and I really can't wait to do it.
Well, it sounds absolutely brilliant. I don't know whether they have still got any tickets going, but if they are, you can have a look on the Millwall website. Just search for Stadium Tours and you will find Tony's Legend Tour tickets priced from £8 to £22. Tony, I've got to ask just quickly from the Crawley point of view, because cracking club, cracking obviously group of players, which have been in the headlines possibly more than usual this year, because you had Mark Wright get involved, the reality TV star from The Only Way is Essex, and he of course was a very talented youngster in his youth, didn't quite make it. He joined your squad at a professional level at the grand old age of 32, making this documentary. What was it like having someone kind of come in from the outside? Did the lads warm to him very quickly, or was it all slightly strange?
No, it certainly wasn't strange. Mark obviously coming. People don't realise he was there for 3 months before he actually signed. So he was training day in, day out, and he was doing everything we'd done. He was always on time, always professional. If anything, he'd done more than everyone else because he wanted to prove himself that much. And it's one of them where people from the outside could look at it as a publicity thing and that, but for the boys who were there, he was brilliant from day one to the end. He was a fantastic bloke. Obviously, he had a couple of games to come and prove himself and that, and he was a joy to be around. And it's one of them where, for me now, he's a mate. So, and he's like everyone who you play with. You always respect your profession, and people who's involved. And I think, again, the reason why he did get it as well, some days at Dartford Bridge, obviously, one day it took him 2.5 hours to get into training. And he could have easily turned round and gone home where the traffic was that bad. But no, he was that dedicated and wanted to get in there. He actually done that journey. And he was an hour late and he got fined for that and everything like that. With Mark, it was always doubled and the rest, of course. But no, it was one of them. He could have easily turned around, and gone home and went, no, it's not for me. But when people like that show dedication, they always deserve that chance. And he had a chance of a lifetime. And like I said, he was a pleasure to play with.
And it's something you've talked about a lot in this interview, Tony, is not just people being brilliant footballers and that being important, but the being brilliant men as well, and that being a significant element both on and of course off the pitch. Particularly important, you'd have thought, with managers. And now you've played for a few in your career. You played for quite a few just at Millwall, of course. Out of that group of people, who stands out?
It's one of them. Obviously, first and foremost, Mark McGee was fantastic to me. He's the one who gave me my debut, my opportunity to experience first team football. So he's one which I will never ever forget and always cherish. And whenever I get the opportunity to see him, it's always a pleasure. Obviously, Kenny Jackett, he was fantastic for me. He was a good football man, a very, very good football knowledge, and wherever he's been, he's always left the side in a better place from when he went there. And again, Neil Harris, in them 2 and a bit years I was with him, he was good. He was brilliant. He made me the captain of my boyhood club. So again, it's something which I will never ever forget that moment. When he said to me, "You'll have the armband," and something I've always when you're a little boy, it's something you dream of, to lead in whatever level is your boyhood club, and I've lived that dream. So he was fantastic, and we had a good, honest relationship with each other. It was sometimes it was stuff which I didn't want to hear, and maybe stuff he didn't want to hear, but it was always professional, and it was always brilliant.
Well, it's fascinating stuff. Great to talk to you with you as always, Tony. Gonna let you get going in just a moment, but before we say goodbye, as of course is the tradition, we always ask for a prediction, and it's a fairly straightforward one this time around. At least I think it is. Who's going to win the Euros?
Oh, well, obviously you've got to say England have got a fantastic chance. I think we've got good strength in depth, and obviously, like I said, you always stick to your country, and I honestly do believe we've got a great opportunity, especially being on home soil.
I'm completely with you. I'm firmly already certain that it's coming home, which means I will, of course, have my heart broken into a million tiny pieces, as usual, but that is the fun of it. Tony, a real pleasure to chat to you, mate. We wish you and your family all the very best. Hope to have you back before too long, of course, in the next season, and to share your views, hear those views about how we're going to do in 21/22 as well. A real pleasure, so thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Bye.
Take care. Thanks for having me on. Thank you.
Great
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.
Yeah, really fascinating stuff from Tony there. We've got lots to come, but before our next guest joins us, we'll take a break. For now, here's Bethany Warren talking about a great story that is born out of the passing of a goalkeeping star of women's football, Jordan Dawes, and her cousin's effort to raise money in her memory for Eleanor Hospice.
Hi, Bethany Warren here. Millwall fans Danielle and James will be running the London Landmark Half Marathon in August, in memory of Danielle's cousin, Jordan Dawes. Listen to Danielle tell her story.
Hello, so I am running the London Landmark Half Marathon in August. While training for Tough Mudder, which I'm doing in September, I feel I got the bug for running. I wanted to give myself a challenge, and while raising money for Eleanor. Jordan's memory lives on forever, and as a family, we honour her memory by giving back to the charities that gave their care and support during the darkest of times. Jordan lost her battle to cancer in 2019. She was a keen footballer, playing for the likes of Charlton Athletic, Gillingham, and ending her football career at Kent Football United. One of the most memorable times for me and the family when watching Jordan play was when she actually saved a penalty in a cup final, leading Kent Football United to win. She was an infectious person to be around. Her smile lit up the room. She was keen in talking to James about Millwall. She would come with us as of when she can, and the last game that she actually went to was the FA Cup game against Everton, where Millwall actually spoilt her, made her feel really special. She was able to meet some of the players, have her pictures taken with the keeper at the time, and was actually given the treatment of being able to go into the exec lounge as well. The way that people can donate, and we really would appreciate if anyone can, big, small, whatever it is through my pinned tweet on Twitter. My Twitter handle is DannyL1206, and that is DANNIL1206, or you can go through Just Giving website, that is justgiving.com/fundraising/Jordan Dawes Half Marathon. Just want to thank everyone for taking the time to listen, and anyone that donates, so thank you.
What a story, and what a lovely couple Danielle and James are in doing this together. So, if you can help, you can just put James and Danielle fundraising for Eleanor, that is ELLENOR, into your browser, and the Just Giving page will be shown. I'll say that again. Just put James and Danielle fundraising for Eleanor, that is ELLENOR, into your browser, and the Just Giving page will be shown. Thank you. A link will also be in our announcements on Facebook and Twitter.
I'm Johnny Burrow, and I'm back with the No One Likes Us talking team of Debbie Julians, Stan Godwin and Jeff Burnige. Eleanor is a Kent-based care service who care for children and young adults, and that extends to the London Borough of Bexley. They are the only charity in the county who provide hospice care for people of all ages, and their care includes the widest range of care possible. If you can support Danielle and James's efforts in memory of Millwall fan Jordan, you will certainly make a difference to Eleanor Hospice. Now, both the Millwall Lionesses and the Romans are back playing. Millwall Romans became London Unity League champions the weekend before last, and that was back-to-back championship wins. Here is Eamon talking to their player-manager, Paul Loding.
Well, great to talk to you again, Paul, and after back-to-back championships for yourselves, your teammates, or your playmates down at St Paul's, the Millwall Lionesses, have found themselves promoted to Tier 5. Great opportunity for them.
Oh, that's amazing news for them. I mean, we do see them quite a bit. We train with them on a Wednesday night. We see them normally before we play or after we play. They're a great group there. Got some really talented players as well there. So, no, that's really, really good news. I'm really pleased for them. Kate and Alex there are doing an amazing job.
Yeah.
Good luck to them next season. I hope they do really well.
Well, we could see another double again next season, couldn't we, all round?
Absolutely.
Aye, that would be brilliant. So it's Charlton up next week. Any news on whether fans can come along?
Yeah, we're playing away, unfortunately, at Charlton. Big game for us. Even though we have secured the championship, we still want to go there and come back with a victory. They are saying at the moment their fans are not allowed, unfortunately, which is a bit of a shame. We'd like to take some people down there, but at the moment they're saying no. We're looking a bit injury prone at the moment. We've got about 4 regulars out on a couple of them, including Tom Baker, that normally does the interviews. He's still severely injured, probably out for a good few months, which is a bit of a blow for us. We lost another winger early on in the season. On this side of the season, Adil, again, quite a serious knee injury. But we're still looking good. We've been training all the time. Fitness is looking good, and they play on a 4G pitch as well, which obviously with St Paul's, that's what we do, and that suits our style of play, playing on that sort of surface. So, no, looking forward to it. It should be a good battle of a game.
Should be a good battle of a game. And who you got left after Charlton then?
So we've got Charlton this week. We've got away game against our East London rivals, Phoenix. Again, great team, but they're over in East London. And then we finish the season at home, which is lovely to finish at home against Titans.
Right.
London Titans towards the end of this month, where hopefully we'll meet the league chairman, who will issue us with all the medals and the shield and the cup for the winning.
God, that would be fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. So, it's nearly all over for you. It's certainly over for us. This is our last show of the season. So, we wish you well for the 3 remaining games.
Fantastic.
And we'll be back on the last Friday in July. And hopefully we can catch up with you then, Paul, and you can tell us what's happening next.
Absolutely. I should mention as well, we have secured the cup final. The actual date for that is going to be the 10th of July. That's only been booked in today. We're playing at a pitch in Birmingham. But that's all booked in for Saturday, the 10th of July, and that will be the last game of the season. Which we really look forward to a cup final. So hopefully we'll bring that back to St Paul's as well.
That'd be wonderful, absolutely wonderful. And we'll keep our eyes out on social media for that. So all the best with the cup final, and I hope some of those lads recover and enjoy the rest of your season.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for your support, and everybody. Really, really appreciate it. And have a nice break.
Cheers, Paul.
Thanks, Eamon.
Well, great to hear from Paul there. And of course, it's Charlton away on Sunday, and restrictions for fans attending are still in place. But here's a question, Stan. When was the last time that the Addicts beat the Lions?
Well, the last time that they beat us, and I was fortunate enough not to be there, was in January 1996. And long may that remain. But let me just add to that. The last time I actually witnessed Charlton beating Millwall at the Valley was January the 6th, 1968. And at that point, Lyndon Johnson was still the President of the United States. The Tet Offensive hadn't taken place. Robert Kennedy and Martin Luther King hadn't been shot. The Russians hadn't invaded Czechoslovakia, and men hadn't flown to the moon at that point. And,
well, that is quite something. You'll also be pleased to hear that Charlton have never beaten Millwall in my lifetime. I've literally never witnessed it.
Oh, yeah.
Not quite men on the moon, but it's something, Stan. Come on.
Yeah. I mean, they're a bizarre mob because, you know, I've heard their people turn around and say things like, when we play them, they are our cup final, and I think we've won something like about 30 games to their 10 or something. And I said to this Charlton fan one day, I said, well, if every time we played you and we beat you, we got a cup, we'd be running out of shit. We'd keep putting up shit. I mean, but they actually believe all this rubbish. I mean, it's
very,
just unreal.
Very strange. Well, you talk about cup finals. We do, of course, have a genuine cup final coming up, as we heard there. It's at Castlevale Stadium, Birmingham, and the Millwall Romans will play against Village Manchester at 2 p.m. on the 10th of July. Check out their social media sites for further information, and we can only hope that it's a Millwall versus Charlton kind of record that starts to be set into place. All the very best to the Romans for that, of course. And you've just heard about the LIonesses as well from Paul, and they received the tremendous news on Wednesday that due to their performances over the past 2 seasons, both of which, of course, were disrupted by coronavirus, they were promoted to level 5 of the Women's Pyramid and will play in the London and South East Regional Women's Premier League. This is a great achievement, and we congratulate the players, their management, and, of course, the Millwall Community Trust, whose umbrella they sit under. Now, to top that off, we welcome back Assistant Lionesses manager Alex Russell to the studio. Hello, Alex.
Hello, all.
Hello, Alex.
Hi, Alex.
Hello, Alex.
Very, very nice to have you with us, Alex. Thanks for your time. And the team and I have covered the Lionesses, been covering them since we broadcasted on Love Sport Radio, which feels like a lifetime ago now. You were certainly a side who achieved more than your opposition, but unfortunately, the last 2 seasons were cancelled, postponed, messed with all round due to COVID restrictions. Thankfully, it's now been agreed that you are worthy of playing at a higher level, and this is, of course, fantastic news. How has it been received by manager Katie Whitmore, the team, the Millwall Community Trust, and, of course, yourself?
Yeah, I mean, so the application was actually put in March, if I'm honest. So it's been something we've been sat on for a little while, Katie and I, along with the committee. I know that we're both delighted, the committee are delighted, and MCT, and the girls. We didn't know, or they didn't know rather, that the news was being announced. They didn't know we even applied for it, if I'm honest. So yeah, they're delighted with the fact that it was awarded. I think everyone will agree it's probably well deserved in terms of how much effort's been put in across the last 2 seasons. Hopefully, it gives some of them a chance to sort of prove themselves at a higher level, especially not only the players but Katie and myself.
Fantastic. Hi, Alex. It's Debbie here.
Hello.
Great result away against Watford, or the Golden Girls as they are known at the weekend. What can you tell us about the game?
Yeah, so it was a test, certainly. Watford are a side that we've played in the past, and we went there with a plan. It wasn't really going to plan, if I'm honest. We were 1-0 down at the half time. We did make a couple of changes, and we did revert back to a 4-4-2, and I think in allowing us to cover a lot of the pitch, we was able to sort of drag them out of positions, as sort of we've seen by Abby Dell's goal that's been circling around on Twitter. One of the centre-halves was dragged out of position, and I think it allowed us to sort of get the best out of sort of personnel that were there. But yeah, it was a good game. It was, like I say, it was a test. It was physical. It was incredibly hot. So the girls definitely sort of, that was a test for them, both mentally as well as physically. But you know, it's brilliant to sort of end the season and our sort of run of fixtures. We've got a month or so off now, whereby, you know, we can rest and replan for the season ahead.
Brilliant.
All right, Alex, it's Stan here, mate. So
Hello.
Next season is a league a season that you can see through to the end. Well, I think we all want to do that. We had Libby Stubbs on recently, and Libby talked about Abby Dell becoming vice captain. What difference will this make to the training and plan for the team?
Well, for Abby personally, I don't think it will change much, if I'm honest. For sort of the listeners that aren't familiar with the Lionesses, I'd probably best describe or compare Abby to a Lee Gregory type player. Who's happy to run her socks off for 90 minutes long. They'll give it her all, and I don't think that will change in becoming vice captain or co-vice captain. I think, if anything, it gives her a bit more of a sort of reason to have a voice. If in and around training, if there's something that is sort of she's not happy with, then she's now got a sort of reason and a sort of a free rein to go and make that vocal. But I don't think it will change anything personally with Abby. I think she'll still give 110% as she has done for the season. And I think that the girls, they were delighted for her. They've sort of taken to it well. And in their words, probably couldn't have picked sort of a better player for the job. I think Katie's mentioned in sort of previous interviews, we've now got Sian, who plays at the back, Libby, who plays in the middle, and now Abby up front. So we've got voices sort of with responsibility across the whole of the pitch. But I personally, I don't think it will change their game much at all, because we almost go out there with 11 captains on a Sunday, if I'm honest, and everybody is vocal and plays with a Millwall attitude. So I don't really understand what more we could ask for from Abby, to be honest. But no, it's definitely, like I say, no better person for the job, and a good reward for a very sort of, not season, but last sort of 9 months or so.
Evening, Alex. It's Jeff here.
Hello.
It's great to talk to you again. First of all, I would just like to pass the thanks of all of us here on Millwall No One Likes Us Talking to you, your teammates, your media team and your management for the access you've given us throughout all that's been going on during this disrupted season. So thank you very much from us. Moving on from that, we talked briefly last time you were on about objectives. Have you any specific targets that you will set yourself and the team for next season? And here's a big one. What would you tell any supporter why it would be a great thing to sponsor the Lionesses or a player next season?
I think the key team objectives would probably be to get a settled bunch settled early. If any faces are coming through the door that they're in, they're accustomed with how Katie and myself coach, and they get along with the current crop we've got. We're not going to rush anybody in the door for the sake of it. I think sort of not really obviously spoken with the management or the committee, but for me, consolidation, securing our position in that league at a minimum for next season is probably a target that we're going to do as quickly as possible. But ultimately, we're going out there and playing with no pressure, and I think that probably that's when you play at your best. We want the girls to enjoy their football. It's come at a shock to them, so I think they'll give it as best an effort as they can. But I think ultimately, just next season is just about enjoying it, winning games, and sort of staying in that league, or at least going for a push. But I'll certainly say I'd take that for next season. We've got player sponsorships, clubs, shirts, boards. So Lionesses now are sort of, it's free entry, it's local, and now that we've come sideways as well as an upward movement, we'll be playing against a lot more familiar sort of clubs and journeys that are worth making. The sort of Fulhams and Dartfords and Dulwich Hamlets, so a lot of local rivalry. So they'll be built up massively on social media. They get a lot of coverage, and I can imagine them being quite feisty games, to be honest. So if ever any Millwall fans are around, come down, get involved, get sponsoring, because the players are a great bunch, and they really sort of get involved, and they sort of get along with everyone outside of the football. It's not sort of a closed shop like you find with first teams in the men game. I think that it's actually quite an opportunity that's worth getting involved with before sort of women's football sort of takes off, if you like. Yeah, and just obviously a thank you to yourselves at No One Likes Us, not only for sort of sponsoring Libby, our captain, but also the coverage that you've given us throughout the seasons. It's been consistent, and it's been sort of well listened to, and it's got us a lot of exposure. So without yourselves, I'm sure that we wouldn't have sort of had the support we have had on a match day. So thank you all as well.
Well, fantastic stuff. It sounds like there's much more to come, and we look forward to hearing about your feats in Tier 5 next season. But just before we let you get going, how about a couple of predictions? First up, who is going to win the Euros? Just finally, how are the Great Britain women's football team going to get on at the Olympics in Japan?
I've got to say it's coming home. I've got to say I'm going to go with England and Team GB. I think they'll go out there and they'll perform and they'll do the business. But I think England in the Euros, I rate rate the choice from Southbank. Southgate, sorry, Southbank's my Saturday club. Southgate. I think he's gone with sort of versatility, and I'm quite excited. It's a young up and coming sort of crop of players, and I think why not? Why can't we? We're in a decent group. We've got a decent run in if we do progress throughout the group. So I'm going to go with. I'll go one up. I'll say not only will England win it, but Harry Kane for the Golden Boot as well.
That is fantastic. You're the first guest we've had this evening who's just said it's coming home in so many words. I've been waiting for someone to do it. Thanks, Alex. All the best for next season, and we look forward to talking with you in the not too far distant future. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, cheers, Alex.
Bye.
Bye.
And Jeff, I hear on the Lionesses topic, I hear you've got some updates on the Lionesses Academy sides for us.
Yes, I have. I mean, obviously they've been playing behind closed doors all season, but they had a very good second period in the season. They started playing again in the spring in a kind of mini tournament that the JPL, that's the Junior Premier League, which is where they play, and both the under-16s and the under-14s topped their respective tables in those mini leagues. So that was a good finish, and so a good successful season for the Millwall Girls Academy, which is being expanded, isn't it, next season to a post-16 team as well. So well done to everybody involved.
Well done indeed. It sounds like there are very, very bright futures at every level of that club, so keep your eyes peeled. We will take a break there and listen to author of Millwall books and soul singer Barrie Stradling, who accompanied our next guest, Kelly Webster, over a few of the bridges on the 21 she conquered in memory of Jimmy Mizen on Sunday. Johnny Burrow, and I'm back with the No One Likes Us Talking team of Debbie Julians, Stan Godwin and Jeff Burnige, who's got his cup of tea and is ready to go, which we're all delighted about. Our final guest in our final show of the season is no stranger to us. This weekend she hit the 21 bridges between Richmond to Tower Bridge to raise money for the Mizen Foundation, who do such great work in the community. As Margaret Mizen MBE said, the day Jimmy died, I promised him two things. One, I would keep his name alive, and two, I would dedicate my life to working for peace. And that is what that lovely couple, Barrie and Margaret, and their family do. To help them, Lioness, Hospital Heroes supporter, Lions Food Hub, PFA Community Champion Award for 2021 winner, and, as Eamon says, the woman who keeps so many plates spinning. Yes, she spun this one on Sunday last. Let's welcome the one and only Kelly Webster. Hello, Kelly.
Hi guys, how are we all doing? What an introduction that is. It seems like it gets bigger and bigger each time.
Well, we've got to keep up in it, Kelly. We've created a rod for our own back, if anything, but delightful to talk to you. And an extraordinary achievement. We talked about it beforehand. We're talking about it again afterwards. Fantastic. And of course, being serenaded onto the show by Barrie Stradling must have been cool. But tell me, how did you feel the other day after all of those bridges?
I got to say, I was a bit stiff the day after, because up by sort of Chelsea Bridge, I ended up with a blister on my heel, and so I've probably done about the last 8 miles with quite a bad blister by the end. So yeah, I was a bit stiff and a bit sore, but yeah, we're all back to normal pretty much now. Thank you.
Gosh, Kelly. Hi, Kelly. It's Debbie here.
Hi, Debbie. You're right.
Gosh, well done. I must admit, I felt very guilty because I watched so many clips and read so much too on Facebook this Sunday gone. And I know it was cold out there too. So how many times have you done the 21 bridges for Jimmy now? What distance is it and how is the fundraising going? And can you tell the listeners how to donate?
Yeah, so I've done it 3 times, like the 21 in total. We done it the first time we done it. There was a group of about 20 of us. We had Harvey Brown, my partner Ellen, Dean and Vicky Brown. And most of their family, which took a very long time. I would say we finished, I think, about 8 o'clock at night that first time. And then I done it last year through the pandemic because I didn't want it to miss a year. So just me and Harvey's brother Jamie Chapman done it last year, and then this year obviously I had a great team with me. So the distance for the total 21 is 26 miles roughly, just over 26 miles, so pretty much like a marathon in distance. Wow. And then the fundraising is going really, really well actually. I was actually blown away on Sunday because we reached over £3,000 and we're just under 3,500 at the moment. Still got a bit of money to come in from work and whatever else. So I would say we probably are going to hit the 3,500.
Great. And how do they donate?
They can donate by if they just go on Google, any sort of search, and just put in GoFundMe 21 Bridges, and it should come up for them that way. Is probably the easiest way, I would say.
Great.
Hi Kelly, it's Stan here. Sorry I couldn't get to you on Waterloo on Sunday. You got there a couple of hours ahead of schedule, but then to top it all, when I went up to the station to get on the train at Abbey Wood, I then found out there was engineering works, which I hadn't, for some strange reason, I hadn't anticipated. And because then standing straight away, that sort of snookered me. But decided, me and Ted, assuming you do the same thing next year, we'll definitely be there, and this time I'll make sure that the engineering works is either on or off. So anyway, so my apologies for not.
Oh no, I can I totally understand. It was a bit sort of ahead of our time, so I totally understand, Stan. No problem.
Talking about how long it took you, was there a record this time, and who accompanied you?
So for me, yes, it was like the quickest time that I've done it. We've done it in 6 hours 35. So we started off with 8 of us in total. So there was myself and my brother Lee, and then you had Amy, Belinda and Tony from the club shop at Millwall, and Lucy from the ticket office, and then I had a Millwall fan and friend, Dave O'Keefe, and his son Liam. But it was me and my brother that finished first, quite quick, because as we said, like a couple of hours earlier than probably what I was expecting. But yeah, my brother was pace, probably a bit taller than me, longer legs I kept saying, so he dragged me along, I think.
Kelly, good evening, it's Jeff.
How are you, Jeff? You alright?
Yeah, like Ted and Stan, I'll try and do something in terms of walking next year. What time do you start at Richmond Bridge? Because that's quite near me.
Yeah, I heard it's quite near you, so we will definitely be seeing you next year from what I gather on this one.
I did go a couple of years ago, and I kept popping up for the first couple of bridges, but I'd like to walk for a little bit next year. So what time do you reckon is the starting time?
So normal starting time is between, I think, 8 and 9. So yeah, we started a little bit earlier this year. We was 10 to 8. We were down there and ready to go. So we thought, let's go. Start from Richmond Rugby Club. Yeah. And then out and over Richmond Bridge is the first one.
So you have my admiration for what you do. You're undoubtedly a very special person. I've known you a long time, Kelly, and what you and Ellen, your partner, managed to achieve, it's incredible. Your charisma is infectious, and what you do makes a difference for a lot of people and a very diverse range of people, which is very important. If we could bottle it, what is it that drives you on? What would you say it is?
I think, like Sunday, what drove me on is just to get the money in for the Mizen Foundation. They do absolutely amazing work, and through this pandemic, like charities like that have just really struggled with getting funding in, and that drove me to get through Sunday. But what drives me to get through anything I put my mind to, Ellen obviously massively helps me with anything I decide that I want to do. She just sort of gets dragged along, and she's always there to support me. I couldn't do things that I do without her at all. But for me, I think it's just my passion to help the community have a better community, and I want to promote and I want to show people what Millwall as a club do, what the Millwall Community Trust do. I want them to realise, and I will keep pushing until my last breath, of how much great work that they do.
Well, Kelly, it really is fantastic work, and I find it very interesting whenever I'm party to these conversations, because obviously I've come to have a real soft spot for Millwall, the club, and the supporters and all the rest of it. But I'm still kind of looking in on it from the outside a bit. I didn't grow up a Millwall fan. I wasn't necessarily aware of all of this stuff that goes on, but I continue to be amazed by the efforts of Millwall supporters to make the lives of others better. And you, of course, enshrine that in all that you and Ellen do. I can't say any more, but it is just fantastic. It's always a pleasure talking to you. It's been a pleasure this time around as well. And
Thank
just
you.
before we let you go, how about a couple of predictions, as usual? The first is, well, I think there's one right answer. We've had some different answers this evening. It is, who is going to win Euro 2020?
For me, it's you've got to say England. You've got to absolutely will it and want it. Yeah, will it and want it, because I believe that it's got to happen, and I'm hoping it's this time, definitely.
Fantastic stuff. Well, we can only hope, can't we? And the second question, of course, is women's football. How are Team GB going to do at the Olympics in Japan?
I think we've got a real strong squad. I mean, it mainly consists of Man City and Chelsea players, but yeah, a real strong squad. But it's going to be hard. We've got a few decent teams in our group, like with Canada, and obviously we've got the host Japan. But I think the girls are going to do well, and I look forward to watching it, and I really hope that they push all the way for us.
Well, again, fingers crossed, and you'd have to say the talent in that squad, they're going to have every chance. Thanks, Kelly. All the best for your continuing and future plate spinning, and we look forward to having you back with us not too long after our Millwall Fan Show returns at the end of July. Bye for now.
Bye. Thank you very much, everyone.
Cheers,
Thank you very
Kelly.
much.
Great
Cheers.
work.
Thank you.
Kelly. Great work.
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Kelly Webster there, a legend in her own lifetime. Always such a pleasure to catch up. We're going to take a break there and listen to SE16's very own legend, Harvey Brown, and a founding member of the Lionesses, Patricia Maslin.
Harvey Brown here. I missed my football at the Den. Did you know Millwall Community Trust are continuing to help people of all ages from different walks of life and are doing so much good in these tough times? But they need our help. Here's Patricia to tell you more.
Oh, thank you for that intro, Harvey. Millwall Community Trust appreciates your support. You are a star. The Millwall Community Trust, MCT, have launched a bursary fund to tackle financial hardships. The bursary fund has been put in place to aid individuals participating in an MCT activity or programme. The funds will be awarded to help further an individual's career and potential at MCT. Sean Daly, CEO of the Trust, said, "Funds raised from our fundraising events and donations from supporters of the Trust will support the MCT's bursary, which will in turn offer financial support to participants on our programmes. For example, helping with travel expenses so they can attend, providing clothing for young people, or paying for a haircut for an interview. The bursary fund will be open to all participants of Millwall Community Trust programmes. We are really excited to launch a project and will always welcome donations. For further information about the bursary, please email Sean Daly, that is SDALY at millwallcommunity, all one word, .org.uk. If you wish to make any donations, insert Millwall Community Trust into your internet browser, click on Donate, either on the browser page or on the header of the MCT website. Thank you.
I'm Johnny Burrow, and I'm back with the No One Likes Us talking team of Debbie Julians, Stan Godwin and Jeff Burnige. People's lives are still being lost to this dreadful virus or as a consequence of suffering with it. Infections continue to rise slightly and people continue to be hospitalised. Our thoughts go out to the victims, their families, friends and those that take care of them. On a personal note, I went to the home of England Rugby at Twickenham on the last day of May and I got my first jab there. Wasn't expecting it, just got to turn up. It was rather extraordinary, really. I witnessed thousands queuing and many, many people under 30 attending. So keep your eyes peeled for more mass initiatives.
There are so many fans who want to support the club, and for now, you can simply make a donation when you renew your season ticket. All the details and more can be found on the Millwall website. Don't forget the Super Saver period has ended, but the Saver period has now kicked in with adult prices reduced by 48% and under sixes reduced by 86%. This still guarantees you excellent value for money on your season ticket. This period ends on the 30th of June, another month, so get going. With purchases available online and by phone only. Sponsorship packages will soon be announced, along with other commercial opportunities. So watch out for the club's website for further details. Lastly, Husky bundles are available to pre-order in the Lion store, consisting of a 12-pack of Husky's original chocolate drink and a signed limited edition Husky baseball cap. Don't delay, get your order in today. The caps are signed by one of 5 first-team squad members: Billy Mitchell, Danny McNamara, Mason Bennett, Jed Wallace or Bartosz Białkowski. One of those will sign every one of those caps. And that's good night from me.
There is no show now until the end of July as we break for the closed season. Our monthly podcast is due to recommence before our Millwall fan show returns on Friday, 30th of July. Keep an eye out for all the on social media sites. But before I go, let's not forget Michael Cole, 36, a lifelong Lions fan and son of former Millwall employee Mark. Had been given 2 months to live, but is currently in Guy's Hospital and receiving morphine and radiotherapy, which, along with chemotherapy, could extend his life for a year. However, Michael's friend Kevin Lott is raising money for Michael to be able to afford private treatment, which could give him the opportunity to live for many more years. Any donation, big or small, would be huge help towards Michael's treatment, as it is appreciated by his family and friends. For more information to donate, insert fundraiser by Kevin Lott supporting Michael Cole. I'll repeat that. Fundraiser by Kevin Lott supporting Michael Cole into your browser, and link will appear where you may make a donation. Good night.
Don't forget Millwall Lionesses and Romans are now playing football under the current restrictions. The Lionesses are having open training sessions for prospective new first team players, which commenced on the 7th of April. You will need to register interest on a form which is available on their Facebook or Twitter sites to attend. Millwall Romans returning to playing and training, and potential joiners are welcome. Why not join this back-to-back championship winning side? You can make contact through either their Facebook or Twitter sites. Both teams train and play their home games at the most excellently managed Millwall Community Trust site at St Paul's Sports Ground, Salter Road, Rotherhithe. And you could be playing here too. And it's good night from me.
Lastly, let's not forget to keep it safe on the streets out there, follow the Lockdown 3.0 guidance, social distancing when outside, and of course wearing a face mask where necessary. That's it from me. Thanks to our panel. Debbie, lovely to meet you and chat for the first time. Stan and Jeff, always a pleasure. Until next season, good night.